Welcome to Talking Jazz. My guest today is Annie Chen, and she's speaking to me from New York about her very new album that's coming out in February. It's a fascinating construction of compositions and improvisations, and we'll dig into it and we'll listen to several of the selections. But first, welcome, Annie.
Hi everyone, this is Annie. I'm so honored to join this podcast.
It's great to have you. Let's start, we're not sure how familiar people are with your work yet. So give us a little glimpse of Annie Chen, where you come from and how you got to New York and what got you into this jazz and improvisation and composition.
This is a little bit long story. Yeah. So I originally come from Beijing, China. I came to New York. The first time I came to New York is 2010. I studied with some vocal teacher in the Manhattan School of Music. And then I go back China for a year. Then by the end of 2012, I joined this graduate school in Queens College in New York. So after 2 years, I graduated, received the master degree, and then I just planned to stay in New York to develop my project. At the beginning, is I doing this sextet project with some of my classmates back in the day in Queens College, and then we released my first album, Pie Sister Dreamer. From that, and then after another 3 years, I changed my band member to Glenn Zaleski, Alex Laurie, Tomogo Omura, and then start from there. I start to build my octet, and then till today, I changed the band member again for building my more, new project for these Guardians. Actually, I have quite a long history background in China for singing blues, jazz, funk big band like
Hmm.
this. Yeah, a lot of like a different setup in China. But then around that time, I feel, okay, I think it's the time to let me, developing myself in New York.
New York is a great place to be. It's so inspirational, but it's
Yes,
always
exactly.
also hard. There's a lot of
It is.
competition.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think my character is more like pretty much focus on the stuff I'm doing. In Brooklyn, I feel like the musician environment is pretty healthy here.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like a lot of people like helping each other and we support a lot of musician friends. I think is very nice. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I have a few friends in Brooklyn and
Mm.
I love them all.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you mentioned it's called The Guardian, your album.
Mm.
I want you to, so it's a seven-piece ensemble, and I would love for you to let us know about the musicians that are on this album.
The musician, I think the saxophonist, I cooperate with him for quite a long time from my last album, Secret Treetop. His name is Alex Laurie. He's American saxophonist. My violinist and viola, he played viola in one of my pieces too. His name is Feng Chenghui. And he originally came from Malaysia. My accordionist and pianist is Vitor Gonzalez. He's a Brazilian musician. And also my guitarist is Maurice Dubois. He's a Swiss French. He's also my husband. Yeah, so it's, yeah, in my project too. And then my bass player in the album is Matt Moons, also American musician. And last, my drummer, his name is Satoshi Takeshi. He's originally from Japan.
And I love the multicultural selection of it and how it comes together. So we're going to listen to several selections, but the first one we're going to listen to, I'm going to say what's patch.
Mm,
I'll
mm.
put out my best Polish here, but it's spelled Rozpacz. So tell us with which framework we should go into listening to this. What are some things the listener can focus on this one?
Yeah, actually, this song is not my composition. It's one of the very famous Polish composer. I hope I can read his name well. Zbigniew Namysłowski. Yeah, so he's a like a very legendary composer in Poland. Yeah, lots of people asking me like, why you're from China? Why your album has like a two Polish like composers pieces? This is quite also like a long history for me too. I cooperate my previous guitarist called Rafał Solanecki. He's a Polish guitarist, so we cooperate 10 years ago from my first album until my last album, Secret Treetop. So it's almost like a 7 years cooperation. We're very, very close friends too. So I think, he came to China to perform with me for quite a lot of times. So I think we're communicate a lot with each other's different background, culture, and music, of course, music too. So around that time, I'm very, very interested with a lot of Eastern Europeans music, and then
Mhm.
do a digging in it, find a lot of like very amazing pieces. This is one of them that I really, really like. I think this piece is inspired me in another way because the English meaning is means despair in
Mhm.
this whole piece, and somehow I related to one of the traditional Beijing opera piece called Farewell My Concubine. This is like very, very old story. It needs to back in 2300 years ago. Like when China is like divided by three nations, it's now the whole one China. Yeah. So one of the king surrounding by all the enemies and his wife about suicide before they thinking this kingdom gonna goes to the end. So it's like a very, very sad story. And then I'm growing up in Beijing. So, my mom sing Beijing opera, of course, as a hobby, but you can see, of course, in my generation, I think the people don't really listen to Beijing opera that much. But for my parents' generation, I think still a lot of people is a big fan of Beijing opera. So I growing up in this environment, like yeah, I hear someone else or from TV or from Beijing opera live show. I growing up in this music culture, so yeah, that like influenced me a lot too. So somehow I just have this connection between them. So I try to combine these two things, even though it's very far away. One is Polish jazz, one is Beijing opera. So, but I trying to let them to combine, become a one thing that I really present my concept of the jazz that I understand.
That's really cool, and I really love how global things are and how we are open to influences from anywhere. So let's have a listen to this first, and then we'll talk a little
Yeah.
bit about, yeah, those
Mhm.
influences. So here is Ross Patch, and this is from the new album Guardian. The Guardian? The
Guardians.
Guardians by Annie Chen.
切合了身。
That was a composition called Rodspatch. This was music by Zbigniew Nawislowski, a Polish composer. And this is one of the selections on the new album Guardians by my guest today, Annie Chen, who you also heard on vocals. So it started out with a composition by somebody else, and we talked about how you get influenced across the world, across continents. But the next few pieces we're going to listen to are actually the Guardians suite. They're very direct about putting in front of our eyes the things we do to our environment and some of the serious issues. It talks in your press release how you were inspired by a visit to the national park in Maine, by the landscape. And this first one is called Northern Eyes. Give us a little glimpse. What's behind the Guardian Suite? How did you go into this composition process with this inspiration?
I think it's the global warming and climate change is of course nowadays is the biggest topic. I think it's related to all the futures of a human being and all the species on the planet. Myself, it's like a very huge fan of animals. So every time it's in the holiday or vacation, I will like to, go to the forest or go to the nature to see, some animals or, enjoy nature. So I think to being human being right now, we should do the things, how can I say it? It's like more progressively to thinking about, like consider all the possibilities we have or all the changes we can do nowadays. I think it's a very, very important. A lot of people listen to those music, they think is a very depressed, very depressed music. But that I think that's the message that I want to deliver from musician to audiences, that should we thinking about, like prepare and thinking about and consider it, everything about that, because it's so important, and so important for our next generation too. Yeah, so I think that's why. And then I got influence from this trip because this is the first time I went to Maine, Arcadia National Park. It's like winter, like no one go to this national park in the winter, but and then me and my husband, we went there, and then I really see some of the animals, the deer families there, fox. That's about my last moment of this piece. So the first movement called Northern Eyes, I don't know. The title is like, because we go very north. And then the first movement, I'm sort of thinking, I mean, I'm not very religious people, but I'm thinking, is there some of the voice from the sky just give human being a warning to say, is that the time we really have to do something from ourselves, from each of the human being. That's mainly this movement about.
I love that. And you're so right. We need a wake-up call. There's no
It
more
is.
procrastinating or, not being active about it,
Yeah.
proactive about it.
Yeah.
So thank you for using the language of music to give us this call to activism, because we need it. So yeah, with that in mind, let's listen to the first part of the suite, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the others. So here's Guardian Suite Part 1, Northern Eyes, and this is from the new album Guardians, released February 23, 2024. And you're going to hear my guest today, Annie Chen, on vocals and also on composition.
You say you want to leave you everything behind, for somewhere from the sky you beg for my help. The hope the voices front and this down, losing my mind. You say you want to get away from your thoughts again. The world has stopped in its tracks and sinking to death. despair. The voices French understand, losing my mind. Do hey, lo hey, lo hey, lo la la, li hey. Do hey, do hey, do hey, do la lo wee, do wee. The voices friends understand, losing my mind. I know that I want to find my way to where you are now. For those quiet nights, leave the feeling in is absolute darling. Getting closer to the place where you are. Rescue, peach down. Rescue, peach down.
That was Guardian Suite Part 1, Northern Eyes, and this is from the new album Guardians by my guest today, Annie Chen, who you also heard on vocals, but she also is the composer, and we talked about the inspiration behind it, nature, and our wake-up call to get active. We'll listen to a few more parts of the Guardian Suite, and the next one is the Whale River song. So we're going to hear sort of whale song sound in some way, you know, thinking about what's going on with a lot of whales getting stranded and being trapped. Yeah, give us a little glimpse how you composed that. How did you imagine the whale sound and transform that? Do you do the lines first? Do you think vocally, or how is your composition process?
Yeah, I think for this one, the Whale River song, I mean, the inspire is still from this trip. When we went to the Arcadia National Park, there is a big river goes to the ocean in front of the house that we stay. And of course, it's winter time and not gonna be have any whales anymore, but just imagination.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, and then also I think this composition, yeah, starting from an intro is really I want to present a lot of the crying from the whale. Because whale, this gigantic animal in the ocean, when they meet danger, they will, send a lot of partners, each of the partners signal to, because they're very smart. So they're sending the signal to each other. So my whole piece It's more like presenting when they're meet the danger and then they send each other signals. So you can see the on the intro part, it's like really aggressive crying scene of the animals feel dangers. And then we're going to the very, exciting moment because it's a very struggling moment. And then after that, the second part of this piece is just vocal and accordion. Just two of us, nothing else, is kind of presenting one whale peacefully swimming in the ocean is what kind of the like scene it goes, and then go by the end have my questions in there. Can we give them a nice, nice space or clean space in the ocean to live? It's each of my movement, I think I leave the questions in there to let people to think.
Well, we'll get inspired. So thanks for giving us this visual, because I love it when you can close your eyes and just put an image in front of it and yeah, let the music tell the story. So this is part 2 of the Guardian Suite, and this is the Whale River song, and it's from the new album Guardians by my guest today, Annie Chen, available February 24th. That was the Whale River song, Guardian Suite Part 2. And this is from the brand new album Guardians by my guest today, Annie Chen, who you also heard on vocals, and she's also the composer. And, we got to know you a little bit at the beginning, how you traveled to Manhattan and got your master's at Queens College. But, you even in your band, we see this combination of people from every part of the world. And you actually co-hosted a radio show called JC Club on air, where you show Chinese audiences jazz from New York.
Mm.
So tell us about that. That's really
Yeah.
interesting.
This CD gonna release on Jay-Z Music, which
Mm,
is the only one jazz label in China.
wow.
Yeah, like only Focus, I will say. Maybe other label also release, but it's not they're only focus on jazz. Musicians really support for local jazz musicians in China, based in Shanghai. So during pandemic, I think they're the leader of this Jay-Z Music, the director, and then he start this program to see, okay, I think I would like to invite some of the Chinese musician live overseas to invite them in this show and maybe once a month and then co-host with me about the jazz scene in their location.
Hmm.
So I think he invited another jazz bassist who residents in Tokyo, and then invite me, who which is co-host with him. So around that time, I really like to introduce a lot of New York local jazz musician to Chinese audiences. China is a little bit closed in the side. They cannot go on Google, they cannot go YouTube.
Mm.
Yes, so in this case, I think it will be good that I host this program with him and then introduce a lot of amazing musicians from New York, from Brooklyn, from America. So I think it's, the when we do this radio show, it's so popular around the time. Like a lot of people really like it. And then from my point of view, and then I will tell a little bit story of each of the musician because I live, they're my neighbor, so it's in a way, it's so good to tell some like a personal story that nobody really know.
Hmm.
So it's a make this distance shorter to let them to understand how, why is this album and that composition. So I think it's very interesting.
Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to do with my show. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Yeah.
confirming. It also reminds me, what the stories people tell about the Voice of America program after
Mm,
the
mm,
World War that
mm.
brought jazz to the European continent,
Yeah.
where you
Mm,
had this one radio program that
mm.
introduced all the great American jazz musicians, and you were able
Yeah.
to hear it.
Yeah.
Those are times, I mean, in our world of Google and YouTube, we can't even imagine anymore having to
Yeah.
wait for this one source to give us the information, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it's a very, very good for communication between, cultures, between countries. Yeah, the
Mm.
people the people listener in China, I think around that time we reached like I don't know how many listener. It's like over 10,000 like
Wow.
what the peak month. But well, in China, this population is like very big. Yeah, so I think, and then also during pandemic, I think, a lot
Hmm.
of people lock at home, and
Right.
then yeah, they really like to discover this program. So I think it's very good around the time. Yeah.
Well, what a cool thing to do.
Mm,
Yeah. We're going to do the part 3 of your Guardian Suite, which is jellyfish all around. We're diving in the ocean.
mm.
How give us the image how we can listen to this one.
Yeah, this image is very scary. I feel
Oh.
like, yeah, jellyfish. I really like jellyfish. It's so beautiful. Like every time I saw them in the aquarium, I said, "Oh, so beautiful." Like make very peaceful because their flowing has a sort of the rhythms in there. So
Mhm.
this composition I composed, the rhythm is actually the rhythm is really sort of the jellyfish flowing rhythm.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's very slow. And then I created this scene is just imagine if you're in the ocean, like full of jellyfish around you, but then it turns out it's all white plastic bag. It's just very, very scary. Just thinking because these years I heard so many stories about all the ocean animals got tracked got trapped in all of those plastic in the ocean. very depressed. So that's the idea. I compose the song called Jellyfish All Around. It's like very scary scene. Yeah,
Please bring your own shopping bags.
it
Do
is.
not take
Exactly.
plastic bags. It's
Yeah,
so easy to put them in your bag and be
yeah.
ready and save thousands of them with one person.
Yeah, I think all of the because right now actually, when we go out to eat, I always like bring a container. We
Oh,
bring
very
some
cool.
container by ourselves, like if the
Mm-hmm.
leftover and then everything, we can just like put in our own container. Yeah, water bottle, plastic bag. You can do a lot of things actually.
It's so easy
Yeah,
and makes such a difference.
yeah,
So
it is.
while we're listening to this, think of all the options of things that
Mm.
you can do and make a list
Yeah.
and get started. So
Mm.
this is Guardian Suite Part 3, Jellyfish All Around, not plastic bags, from the new album Guardians by my guest today, Annie Chen. That was Guardian Suite Part 3, Jellyfish All Around. And this is one selection from the album Guardians, a new release by my guest today, Annie Chen, who you also heard on vocals. And, talking a little bit about the practical side of being musicians, you actually started out as a pianist, you trained as a vocalist, and you're in the New York scene. And living in New York is not that easy. So how give us a little glimpse on a day in Annie Chen's life in New York.
Yeah, it's not easy. I think I'm pretty lucky. I think it's after graduate from Queens College, and then I started job right away in the one music school. I think they like by some other my musicians friends introduced actually.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and then I worked there a couple of years, and then Brooklyn Conservatory of Music. It's also the bassist I play quite often right now is from Korea called Lim Young. She's like a fantastic female bass player. I cooperate with her a lot. And then she asked me because she's teaching there, so she asked me, "Oh, are you interested?" So teaching there. So then I got the interview. Then I worked there since 2019 until now. Yeah, and then I think my daily life it's like, go to school teaching for lots of students. And then I also have a lot of private students. I just hosted the recital for my private students
Oh.
last Saturday. Their age is like from 5 years old until 65 years old. So it's like very wide. Yeah, I really, really love teaching. I think I like to being a teacher to be able to, deliver my music message to my students as a like life changing because some of the students really like the music they're doing right now. And then they came to see my concert too. So it's really like a very nice environment for being a teacher here. So that's kind of the teaching part. And then I perform here too. I have this regular gigs in Tommy Jazz in the Midtown.
Okay.
Yeah, like almost like twice a month or like on the weekend time. Yeah, so it's like, and then some of my original compositions concert too, like a here and there. Before I toured in China quite a lot, but then after the pandemic, I think now the traveling and those things, and then also I feel like I wouldn't want to traveling with airplane too much. Yeah, I still feel very bad about the environment. If I can take train to go to anywhere for performing, I will. Like this time, we get on the train 31 hours from New York to New Orleans.
Wow.
We did that. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take train. I don't want to take airplane.
That, and that's a very, very good point too. And for us musicians, we often have to make very hard decisions that way because
Yeah,
we need to go out and have our music heard.
it is
tour around both
very hard.
continents all the time. And often it's just a matter of time and resources.
Yeah.
Flights are often cheaper than
Yeah,
taking
cheaper.
train.
Yeah, I just hope in America they will build a faster train. That's really my hope. Like in Japan, in China, in Europe, like everywhere. You go from Switzerland to France by train, of course. Who's gonna take an airplane? Yeah, because we quite often back to Europe a lot. So yeah, we go anywhere by train.
We put it out there.
Yeah,
Put the train
hopefully.
system back together. Make it
Right,
as fast as
hopefully.
the bullet trains in Japan.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Very cool. All right, we have one more part from the Guardian Suite that we get to listen to. This is Guardian Suite Part 4, Vanished Tales. Maybe this is the most depressing one, right? It's about the species that we're
Yes.
losing. You want to give us a
Yes.
little glimpse real quick before we listen?
Yeah, this one is also like I got inspired. I think it's like the Halloween time, I think. Yeah, in the Prospect Park Zoo. It's like quite close to the location that I live. They have this graveyard in the Prospect Zoo to tell us like which species is already disappeared. Like they're not gonna coming back. So the one like each day we have some species, just like totally the last one animal from this species disappeared. Like always have that. So I feel this one is the scene that I also saw this little white-tailed fox, very cute, from Arcadia National Park. Then I sort of thinking this connection, the last moment, it will be connected between human and the species. This is the whole concept, whole chasing scene between a hunter and a fox. And then by the end, there's a lot of like very big dramas in this piece. First intro is this little fox and all other animals is very shining in the forest, very happy. And then slowly goes to he's trying to escape from the hunters chasing. And then there's the solo part is between the piano and the flute is really like hunter and the fox chasing scene. And then by the end, the gunshot and the fox about to die. So the last question is, where can I be? It's quite, yeah, again, this whole album's a little depressed for all the things that I described.
Well, it's a wake-up call, but yeah, this is quite descriptive. So we have a lot of things to listen for, the whole hunt and the tragic end. So, well, close your eyes and imagine this hunt and think about it. Guardian Suite Part 4, Vanished Tales, No Return, from the new album Guardians by my guest today, Annie Chen, who you also hear in vocals and who is the composer.
Still been there if nothing had happened, beating on my heart, a ready movement of a thought, lighting the way, watching someone standing there, kept my steps on last, deep silence descended, keeping my breath in check, listen, and told myself, not there, not here, not anywhere.
That was Guardians Suite Part 4, Vanished Tales, No Return. And this is from Guardians, a new album by my guest today, Annie Chen. And we listened to several movements of the Guardians Suite. We, of course, didn't have time to listen to the whole album. It'll be available February 23rd. But we'll close with one that's called The Underground Dance. Before we go into the meaning of the underground dance, what's coming up? Are there any release shows? Where is the album going to be available? What can we tell listeners to go to find everything?
Yeah, I think the CD release gonna be 2024 February 23. I think it can be pre-order 2 weeks before on the Bandcamp, and then I think Jay-Z Music will release it online for all the platforms. So I think you can find it in all the different platforms. CD release show will be in Brooklyn on March 30.
March 30. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the school that I teach, Brooklyn Conservatory of Music, Concert Hall. Yeah.
Do you have a website to send people to?
My website, yes. My website is anniechenjazz.com.
Annie with 2 N's.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
ANNIECHEN.
Jazz.com. Yeah.
.com.
Yeah.
Go and find out more. Stay informed. I'm sure there's a way to subscribe. Yeah, Annie, that was really fun to dive into some dark futures. And this last one is for all of us, the dark future. Like we see it actually in many science fiction movies. Science fiction movies have a way of predicting or showing us the what ifs, right? And you see from each era the type of science fiction movies where what is the things we are most afraid of. You know, there was an era where everything was about sinking sand, so everything with dune and things in sand. And then for a while it was all about aliens landing, and we have all these options. And right now I think we see a lot of these visions of what happens if we destroyed our environment so much that we have to live underground, right? This is the image that you have here.
Yeah, it is about that. And what is called underground dance. I'm still hoping that we find a solution. Actually, we can find some solution, and even the people living underground, we still can happy to dance there. You know, it's like both double questions. Like, I don't know the solution, but I think if everybody can do a little bit from our parts, I think it will help this whole world.
Well, in most of the, movies and those science fiction, you always see how, or the ending is usually finding a way out. And the stories are usually about how does it look like outside, generations being lost and not even knowing anymore how it looks outside. And it's depressing, so let's try to not get there. Let's save our earth so we don't have to do the underground dance.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't introduce this composition from another Polish composer called Rosemary's Lullaby. Is from the movie, Rosemary's Baby. But that one I sing it in Chinese. Basically, that is, I think, is the only one very, very positive song in this album. It's for our next generation. It's the good wish in here to hope there can strongly growing up, peacefully growing up.
Let's do our part to make sure our next generation will be okay. That's our responsibility. Annie, it was such a treat to have you on the show and get to chat and get to introduce your really fascinating, wonderful music.
Thank you so
wish
much.
you the best of luck with everything. And I hope we'll get lots of listeners and get inspired and take action, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me for this program.
My treat. So we'll get one last one from your album, Guardians, and this one is called Underground Dance. Annie Chen on vocals, lots of composition, and thank you again, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you soon. You're welcome. Thank you.
The bridge to sky was broken. There's a terrible last moon heading where the ocean died, holding shadow on my head, losing light of the land and the world. The bridge to sky was broken. There's a terrible last moon heading where the ocean died, shadow of my hand, losing light of the land.
Today was vocalist, composer, and educator Annie Chen. You can hear Talking Jazz every Thursday at 11 a.m. and Mondays at 7 p.m. on WETF 105.7 in South Bend, Indiana, or online at jazzradiowetf.org. And Fridays at 8 p.m. on WICR 88.7 Indianapolis. Previous shows are also on my YouTube channel, Monika Herzig, MonikaHerzig. Please subscribe to the Talking Jazz playlist. Thank you for listening.